Welcome back to the Fitness League, helping busy humans build strong bodies, sharper minds, and better lives. Join us each week as we cut through the noise, challenge the norms, and empower you to train smarter and live longer and live stronger. And someday I'll get that right. Aaron asks, what are your thoughts on procedures like liposuction for getting rid of stubborn fatty areas after getting to ideal weight and then sustaining healthy habits for years with no change in appearance? We'll be diving into this question and many more in today's Q&A episode.
My hot take, just because you hit your ideal weight, that doesn't mean it's your ideal body composition.
This is something we talk about with clients all the time. And I've done the same thing. I've fallen into that trap. Most people don't know I lost 50 pounds. I was a skinny kid growing up. My goal was always to bulk to 225 pounds. I had this number in my head. It was always this number, 225. Where it came from, I have no idea. So when we were living in San Diego, I hit 227, decided that was fluffy Josh and he needed to be put to rest. And my goal was to cut back to being a shredded 200 pounds. Needless to say, I got to 200 pounds and I did not like how I looked. I got to 190 pounds. I did not like how I looked. I cut all the way down from 227 to 177. And then I was way too small. So these numbers are so arbitrary. They are useless. We have to go by how we feel, what we see in the mirror, ideal body composition at each specific size. The number means next to nothing. It's literally just a data point. It's something to reference. So there isn't an ideal weight that you're going to get to when everything is light bulbs going off. This is where I want to be. You got to keep changing body composition until you get there. So as far as recommending liposuction for getting rid of the fatty areas, that's something you will never, ever, ever hear us recommend. Take that money, invest in coaching, do it the right way, and we will actually create sustainable habits along the way that get you to that point and keep you to that point.
Well, she said she's been sustaining healthy habits for years, but if it might not just be
4 years
healthy habits
with no change in appearance, right. Meaning there are certain things that need to continue to be fine-tuned to actually get to that level, and to actually sustain that level, you need to learn those things along the way. Money better invested elsewhere.
Agreed. I feel like you need to talk about that, what you just shared, more on the internet, because I feel like both men and women can resonate with your experience there, and you need to just share that more, I feel like.
I don't talk about myself a lot.
I know. Here's your reminder.
You talk about your Barrett's esophagus a good bit.
Yeah, you do.
Not even that. Like, I do a little more on YouTube, and it does pretty well on YouTube because I can expand more than like a 30-second clip. Me and ChatGPT just had a conversation the other day about setting up some storytelling and getting some things.
You could just ask your wife, who's the marketing manager
Wizard
of our business.
I have asked my wife to help me to work together on these things to
do the content for you.
Why? No. I enjoy doing the edits now. I enjoy doing the video stuff. I asked to can we film stuff together? Nope. No thanks. Got a lot on my plate.
I have enough filming to do, but I can come up with your strategy.
I wanted to film for you. You film for me. You would think, this goes hand in hand. We'd get some cool B-roll, but
someone can come here and film for me. That'd be great.
It's a two-way street, Joelle. It's not just filming for.
I'll film for you, Josh. You can film for me. I'll film for you.
There you go.
Alessandra's better than all of us. We got to stick together. I mean, do what you got to do if you feel like liposuction is the route for you, but I would try to decouple yourself from the fixed mindset of, because I am eating healthy and not seeing a change, I need this procedure. Like Josh said, there's probably some things that could use some fine tuning, whether it's the type of training that you're doing. You may very well have healthy habits. That doesn't mean that you have the right habits, behaviors, lifting style, etc. for the body composition that you're hoping for. So in theory, does lipo solve that problem? Maybe some of it. But if you're wanting to look more toned, but you haven't built the base of muscle that you need, the liposuction doesn't solve that.
And I don't know much about, liposuction is literally just removing the fat. So if what you're doing now isn't working, that doesn't mean that the fat won't come back either once that fat is removed.
Well, it can't in that area. So what they do is go in and remove the fat cells. So fat can never come back to that area. It will go somewhere else.
Right.
But it can't go back to that specific area.
Interesting. I did not know that. Anyway, Chelsea asked, what is a good quality and trustworthy brand for a magnesium supplement? We've used a few over the years. The current
Yeah.
one is Jigsaw. Is that the
Yeah.
brand? Jigsaw
Which I
Mag.
hate that name. Reminds me of the movie Saw.
I use
Every time I
Legion's
drink it.
magnesium.
Legion has magnesium. Is it a pill? Is it a capsule? Yeah. I prefer the powder personally for magnesium, so that's why we do the Mag Soothe by Jigsaw. Yeah, both of those are great.
I used to love also there are capsules, but the True
Calm.
Athlete. We did Nature Com,
Yeah,
whatever that is.
Natural
nature's
Calm.
But
calm.
the
Natural
True
calm. Yeah.
Athlete, yeah, True Athlete ZMA with L-theanine, I used to love as well.
That's a good one. I like a ZMA. And I love L-theanine.
Lauren said, "What's your favorite hype song for back squats?" Joelle hates back squats.
I have hype songs for other things, but not back squats. Actually, let the record show, I programmed back
I
squats
was
this month.
shocked. I was
You
She
were
shocked.
just skipped
probably
some.
shocked.
I was putting in the program
Jury's
last
out
night,
on
and I'm
if
like, wow,
I
she
will
actually
personally do it.
programmed.
Jury's still out on if whether or not I will actually do them in Muscle Mommy or for something else, but they're programmed for you guys so that I didn't just have a strong bias against them that you guys are not benefiting from.
All right, well, hype song for she did write back squats or any other heavy duty compound lift. So, what's your favorite lifting song?
I more so go playlist than a specific song,
Yeah, I
but I'm
agree.
just always into like our old punk rock jams. Those get me so
Blink-182.
hyped up.
They get you
Throw
hyped.
on, yeah. Throw on
I know you
some
got hyped for
Skater
the cold
Boy.
plunge.
Throw on some Skater Boy by Avril Lavigne,
Skater Boy.
and I am hitting a PR.
It depends on my mood. Sometimes I could PR to like In Sync, and sometimes I could PR to like Rob Bailey stuff.
Mm.
Sometimes it's like AC/DC. It really depends on what kind of mood I'm in for the day and what time of day it is. I find like that changes my music
That's
style.
fair.
Those I would say are my top three.
Yeah, Rob Bailey Beast, not the remix, the original with the Hustle Standard and Rob Bailey. The Rob Bailey Gym mix playlist on Spotify. That's the go-to. He's not heavy metal. Some are borderline, but he's like that kind of rock, a little different
It's a
angle.
little bit
But it's
screamo.
a little bit, but it's also like his lyrics are also like poetic. Like he puts a lot of time and thought. He's an artsy dude. It's the guy who owns Flag Nor Fail with his wife Daniel and Bailey. All their stuff is very like they think about the words that they use for everything, and that's how his music is. And
He's
it's
very smart.
yeah,
I'll give him
very
that.
smart.
I also could do like a Kanye for lifting. I don't like Kanye, but like
Like
a
some
stronger
old school rap a little bit. Yeah, I get down with that.
Lauren said, "What are your thoughts on doing a body scan to check and recheck muscle mass for progress?" I would say it depends what you're doing. I would not recommend in body, which is what most people do. It's just not my favorite.
What's it, Dexa?
I would say it's helpful to do that type of stuff, but track the trends.
Yes.
The numbers that you're going to get are not going to be super accurate, but you might at least be able to track trends of, okay, I did one quarterly and I've noticed my body fat percentage has gone down and my lean mass has gone up. Like, great. That's a great trend. I wouldn't, I think the trends are probably the most accurate part about them. The numbers themselves are not wildly accurate, but they might at least give you an idea of like trending body fat levels or trending bone density.
Adexa is the most accurate and it's going to cost a lot more. So if you're really into like actually knowing what you have, I would go the DEXA route. You'd have to go to a facility and a lot of universities offer it. You can kind of scope around your area, but I think they even have like DEXA trucks that like drive around now. At least around here, I saw some of those too, which is cool. But that is going to be the most accurate as far as like figuring out how much fat versus muscle you have on your body.
With the DEXA, does like time of day consistency matter? Like if you use something that's less accurate, you're going to notice fluctuations based on, how much water you've drank that day, what time you went, whatever.
Where you're at in your cycle.
Yeah. Does the DEXA kind of zero that out?
I wouldn't say it zeroes it out, but it's not as like it's not like with any kind of testing, you want to try to make sure you're doing it on the same kind of time of day under the same circumstances. You're going to get more accurate results if you keep those other variables constant.
Like if you're going to do it, do all of them in the morning, maybe do all of them fasted, maybe do all of them at the first half of your menstrual cycle. Like
Yes.
I would try to keep those variables as consistent as you can if you plan to keep retesting.
Yeah, but it's interesting, and it's something that we looked into doing last summer, and then, well, you guys know what
Prego.
happened.
We're aware.
That was
You
great.
seem to be retaining weight in your belly.
You don't say. Imagine if I went to get one done and like I didn't know yet. I don't know if you could. You probably wouldn't be able to see anything on there. Or,
Yeah.
like, how would they know? But I don't think you can get them when you're pregnant, though.
I don't think so.
I don't know. Anywho, Amanda said, I've been thinking about starting to use creatine. Is there any difference between the powder and a gummy when it comes to quality, absorption, effectiveness, etc.?
Funny enough, this came up yesterday on the podcast. I don't know if this is related or entirely unrelated. We did look into it, and it was basically as long as you're getting the same dosage from a gummy as you would from a powder, then the efficiency and like stability of it is still fine. The concerns about stability or effectiveness change only if it is in a liquid for an extended period of time. So gummy versus powder, there doesn't seem to be a difference. I would say just be sure that you're following the serving size of the gummy. Like it might be 4 or 5 gummies, at least for Legion, it might be 4 or 5 gummies to get a serving. So you want to make sure obviously that you're not just like popping one and you think that's your serving. Make sure you check whatever the serving size is. Either way, whichever one you could stick with more and be more consistent with. I thought for me that would be the gummies, and it turned out that I'm way more consistent with the powder, but not a huge difference there in terms of efficiency.
Hey guys, real quick. If you've been listening and thinking, I need to start doing something for my health, but I don't have time for a full program, that is literally why we built the SDE Method app. It's a fitness app made for real people with real lives. Busy parents, working professionals, anyone juggling 100 things. You can get in, get a smart, effective workout in around 30 minutes, some even closer to 20 minutes, and log out knowing you made progress. You can finally take the guessing out of your workouts. We have workouts designed to be done at the gym or at home, and you get access to all of them when you sign up. As life phases change, you can pick a new one that aligns better with what you have going on right now. And one more thing, we are also qualified for HSA FSA reimbursement. So just hit the app link in the show notes, start where you are, we'll help with the rest. All right, let's get back to the show.
Most important thing is the brand quality. So we use Legion because they're third party tested. They use, only the most required.
They use like clinically effective dosage from specific
There's
research.
Nothing extra or weird blends or anything like that in their products. So just from that standpoint, like if you see a creatine gummy at Stop and Shop and you've never heard of the brand and you have not, just maybe skip that one.
I'd be wary of that. Yeah.
There was another creatine question that I wanted to skip down to.
I think that was related to, I was going to say the other consideration would be how you absorb it, how you feel after you have it. So I think the question was referring to like additional bloating and
Tanya, I don't know if I'm saying her name right, Tanya. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. She said she's been taking Legion's creatine gummies for a few weeks. She feels so bloated. She cut back from 4 to 3 gummies, but she still feels huge. She's heard it's optimal to take creatine in the morning or after a workout. She typically works out very early in the day. Would it be okay to take 1.5 in the morning and 1.5 at night, or is there a better time or split to reduce the bloat? She drinks about 3 to 4 liters of water per day.
Yeah, the cool thing about creatine is it doesn't need to be pre-workout, post-workout, any specific time. It's really kind of similar to calories, your total daily intake. And it doesn't matter once you become saturated. It's really about staying saturated, keep the muscle saturated. So interestingly enough, I do notice, and I said this to you a couple weeks ago, like when I have a later workout and then I have a meal and then let's say I have a bigger dose of creatine, 5 or 10 grams around like 3-4 o'clock, I feel horrible the rest of the day. And it's not even gastro. Like creatine used to be a gastro problem for me, which was another consideration with the type like gummy. I think it's, HCI, monohydrate, different things. You'll kind of react a little bit differently. So figure out what you feel the best with. But I notice just like I would have this energy crash. I wouldn't be nauseous, but I would just feel off. And it's every time I have creatine later in the day. And I didn't think there was anything to it, but I do notice. Go ahead,
I had that experience specifically with the gummies.
Yeah.
I was like kind of taking them haphazardly, and then they're fun, like great product. They're fun. I thought it would help with consistency, and I wasn't being super consistent with them. But when I was randomly taking them, I was noticing that every time I took them, I was getting like nausea and like shooting stomach pains. Like, and then I'd get really, really bloated from it. And I was like, the only common denominator every time is that I took the gummies.
Interesting.
And so then I started using the powder. And when I started using the powder, I got a lot more consistent with the powder too, but that doesn't bother my stomach at all. Like I'll throw that in a scoop of whey and it's completely fine.
There must be
Anytime
something in the gummies that just...
there just might be something in there, like a sweetener or some kind of flavor in there that's just not sitting well with my stomach.
Yeah, maybe that's the
So-
case for Tanya too. That
Yeah.
she takes the gummies. So Tanya, try the leave-in
Try the powder instead.
See if that helps. But
Yeah.
yeah, you can break it up if you prefer doing that as well too. Like you can take half in the morning, half later in the day. I know a lot of people do it that way if you do have GI issues with creatine. But yeah, it's super individual, as you guys can see. Like I'm totally fine with the gummies. I have no issues whenever I take them, and clearly you guys don't love them. So it takes some experimentation, and it's okay to go back to a powder source if the gummies don't work out too, or vice versa. Nicole said, is the blood type diet hocus pocus, or is there some truth to it?
Hocus pocus.
Hocus pocus.
That's it, Nicole.
Yeah, don't waste your time, money, anything. Just said, I believe I asked this too late last week. Thoughts, tips, advice for movement while pregnant. I'm currently 15 weeks. Previous to pregnancy, I was weightlifting 5 or 6 days per week and walking as often as I could. My goal with pregnancy is weightlifting 4 times per week and still walks every day. Are walks enough, in quotes, for cardio? I want to focus on overall health and strength to be as healthy as possible throughout pregnancy, delivery, and postpartum. I know overall strength is part of core and pelvic floor strength, but I also want to work and focus on mobility to help feel my best when it comes time for labor. What are your tips on that?
So I think for me, when I hear a question positioned like, are walks enough? My follow-up question to that is always, enough for what? Enough to meet activity guidelines from ACSM, enough to
Well, she said enough for cardio.
lower your heart rate. Yeah, she said, I want to focus on overall health and strength to be as healthy as possible, which I think is helpful. I don't know if that answers the enough question entirely. I think walks are still a fantastic behavior to implement and a fantastic habit to have, and are great for overall health. At the same time, it is not going to elicit the same response as doing more structured cardio that's going to get your heart rate up more. So is it enough for overall health? Technically, yeah, in a sense. Is it enough to drastically improve your cardiovascular health during pregnancy? Probably not. But if we're trying to maintain health, walks are probably enough. If we're trying to improve cardiovascular health and fitness, then you probably need some higher intensity cardio.
This is a slight tangent related field, but I'm not pregnant.
Thank God.
So with Whoop, one of the cool things with Whoop that I do truly appreciate is this strain recommendation. And what I've noticed, and mine and yours are certainly night and day because you run a lot farther than I do. But I'm kind of on this like maintenance level of cardio, like me pushing myself to do 3 days a week, say 20 minutes or so to kind of check that box, getting the hour of cardio in a week. According to Whoop, I'm just maintaining moderate cardiovascular health. I'm not in a range to improve it. So even running, there's probably a slight improvement. Like my blood pressure is better for a couple of days after I run. So there's certainly that aspect. I'm noticing I'm not reaching new grounds as far as really being into the green with blood pressure. So even to that extent, like we're checking a box, but we tend to need to do a little bit more than we think to actually see a significant improvement versus just maintaining where we're at if we've been training for a while.
Yeah, I will agree with that. And from an aura standpoint, I could tell you I've had my Peloton maybe a year and a half now. And on average, I would say I ride twice a week. My resting heart rate is no different than it was a year and a half ago when I was doing no cardio.
Yeah.
And that's with 2 Peloton sessions a week for the last probably year and a half. My heart rate is not any different. Yeah. Maybe my heart rate while I'm cardioing is different. Like it's probably a little bit lower and takes a little bit more effort to get my heart rate up, but my actual resting heart rate is not any lower.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's a common, struggle that people have. And also like a mindset of like, I think a lot of times not saying that you guys do this, but like we hold ourselves back as far as what our bodies can do. And that's a question I get a lot with like balancing, lifting, and running. Like, I feel like I don't want to overwork my body or overtrain, or, some days I'm really sore. I don't know if I can run today. Sometimes you just got to power through it. And yeah, you're going to be sore. Yeah, you're going to be fatigued, especially at first, but you have to give your body a chance to adapt to what you're trying to implement.
You've got a crazy low heart rate, right?
It's hit
Hers is
39.
Lucky.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see your whoop age once that calibrates.
How long does that? A month? A month. Yeah, I haven't had
The only time my heart rates, Alessandra, I'm curious if this happened with your Aura data. The only time mine were so low was right after I gave birth. And you had all of the like extra vascularization and stuff from pregnancy and all that extra blood flow. And then the baby is gone. And I remember my heart rates went from like 70 down to like 45. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
During
Because you're like,
pregnancy.
you didn't have this baby anymore. Your heart didn't have to work as hard to like pump all this blood around. Like, it makes sense physiologically, but that was like the lowest I ever saw my heart rates was like right after giving birth. It stayed like that for like maybe a week.
I don't remember what it was for Cora, but I remember Wes's pregnancy. This was the most cardio I've done throughout pregnancy and lifting. And throughout pregnancy, my resting heart rate was around like low 50s, and then it just went back to normal, like literally the next day. Like, it was crazy how fast it happens. But it wasn't like as big. I think it was a bigger gap there with Cora, which is interesting too. But yeah, Miranda, I would definitely recommend adding in more like intentional cardio if that is one of your goals. I will also plug the prenatal program. It's 4 days per week of lifting. And then as far as just like mobility work to feel your best when for labor, I think something a lot of people don't realize is, yes, we want to be strong and keep muscle and all that while pregnant, but we also want to learn how to relax our pelvic floor too. So if you haven't seen a pelvic floor PT, like learning how to actually relax your pelvic floor is super helpful, and going to them while you're pregnant. I think Dr. Jen recommended it like end of second trimester, maybe early third trimester, just to practice, and like they'll do an internal check and make sure that you're activating and then also relaxing your pelvic floor, and like how to cue that. I think that would be like my best tip as far as that goes. But it's not something where you need to like hyper focus on mobility for labor. Like if you're exercising, if you're, walking and you're doing some sort of mobility warm up, I think that's more than enough. It's not this thing that you have to add in extra hours per week to prepare. Okay, Melissa said, what are some examples of different kinds of plants that you can put into a smoothie besides spirulina and chlorella, along with fruit and protein powder? Thanks so much, Josh.
If you can dream it, you can mix it.
Spinach is an easy green ad.
Yeah.
That's kind of tasteless. Yeah.
The easy ones, I think, like when I'm rocking, I got like 7 different plants in there. So I have the tri-blend mixed berries frozen from Costco. I'll typically throw in some psyllium husk, chia seeds, flax seeds, spirulina, chlorella powder. Legion sent you that, I forget what it is.
The greens powder?
Yeah, what is it? It starts with a G? Genesis, yeah. Yes. So I did check up on it, because a lot of times like the mixed green is just a smorgasbord of nothing, a la AG1 drama here. But these ones are clinical doses, which I appreciated. It's not like 1,000 different greens. I think it was like 5 or 6, and it's a huge scoop. So like you're getting enough. This was in the midst of my cluster migraines, so I did get a little freaked out and stopped taking that. It also was naturally sweetened, which I'd rather it just be unflavored, because it takes over the flavor of my shake.
Yeah. Well, I think people probably use that on its own, so they sweeten it so that it's not like utterly disgusting.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of weirdos like just drinking green powders without mixing it with anything else, but wasn't my jam. But yeah, I mean, typical with that basic blend, I think I had 7 different plant points in that one shake. So I don't go too crazy. I don't throw in a ton of solids outside of the fruit. Even like spinach, I don't typically love unless I'm making a thick shake and I'm hiding that like in some peanut butter or something. I can't feel it. But yeah, I keep it simple.
Jen said, how to encourage someone who lives far away to move their body more. I live 15 hours away from my mom, so it's not possible for me to just pick her up and go for a walk. She doesn't want to work out or do things alone and doesn't have many friends. We used to do Orange Theory together, but since I moved away, she stopped going and has stopped doing any form of movement together, trying to find a nice/supportive way to encourage her rather than straight up calling her out. Thanks.
More people need to be like you, Jen, being conscious of your parents, keeping them moving. I think this is really cool. So we typically recommend trying to stay mindful when we're getting outside to move, but if she misses having a walking buddy, maybe you guys go together on a FaceTime. I'm not sure what the time difference is, if you're north and south versus east and west, or if you can line that up, but maybe you have that morning conversation, you take a half an hour walk together.
Even just
and
a phone call. It doesn't have to be a FaceTime.
Yeah.
Put some headphones in.
It's a good idea.
I like that idea. That's probably the easiest/least harsh way to like encourage her, because it's not like you can just be like, I really want you to start going to Orange Theory again. But when she knows nobody who goes with her, on the same token though, I think something like a class or a studio that has a community built into it might be helpful. So like just maybe like bring up the fact that maybe you're doing Orange Theory where you moved to, and you asked her if she's been since you left, and just kind of like start the conversation in a way that isn't like, hey, you really should go to Orange Theory. But if she doesn't have many friends, like that could be a social thing for her too, if she does get out of her comfort zone and go and maybe make one friend, or kind of just start a new community there that way. I know it's easier said than done though. But all right, anonymous member 921. She's currently 11 weeks pregnant and has been following Build and running once per week. She said, as I progress through the second and third trimesters, I plan to continue with Build or Move. Is there anything I'd be missing out on by not doing the prenatal program? In short, no. If you're happy with Build and Move, continue with that, assuming you know how to modify and adjust certain things that you cannot do in the second and third trimester. So obviously, like anything laying on your stomach or anything that just doesn't feel right for you. The prenatal program is very similar as far as our goal is strength and just overall hypertrophy and keeping that up while pregnant, but it's specifically catered to each trimester. So I have certain things in there that, you know, will make sense for a growing belly. But if you are confident in, you know, managing that and adjusting things on your own, then you don't have to switch at any point. It's just kind of like a done for you program versus you trying to figure it out on your own.
Listen, if you're tired of the all or nothing cycles, the diet starts Monday, the I know what to do, I'm just not doing it feeling, we should probably talk. Our one-on-one online coaching isn't just about workouts and meal plans. It's about building something that actually fits your life. No cookie cutter templates, no guilt, just real coaching and real results. Plus, we've got a pretty big team, so we can even pair you with an expert who actually understands your lifestyle because they've gone through it too. If that sounds like what you've been missing, check out the link in the show notes to apply for coaching. Then we'll send you the link to book a free, no obligation consult call with our team. There are no hard closes. We won't even take your credit card over the phone. You'll get the details to sign up on your own time. And more good news, we are in fact qualified for HSA FSA reimbursement. One last thing, we even offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. What are you waiting for? Spots are limited, so apply today. All right, let's get back to the show.
Casey said, what are your thoughts on subbing machines for some of the building workouts due to being really pregnant?
I think she means build workouts.
Oh, I see. I would maybe do muscle mommy. You tend to incorporate more machines.
Yeah. I tried to do not as many machines this time. Sometimes I'll have more heavier machine phases of the blocks, but I try to keep it fairly minimal because I know we do have a lot of muscle mommies who are working out from home and they have to sub out the machine stuff. Muscle mommy is intended to be full gym access, but it's not mainly you're talking about like leg extension. But yeah, absolutely. If you got to sub some stuff out to sub in machines to make it work for the belly or anything else, do what you got to do.
I would almost argue that free weights is easier with the belly though. Like I'm curious what machines, like I'm just thinking
Does she mean like
press, is it out? Like at least for me,
maybe it feels too like maybe I don't know. I know when I was pregnant and if I went in and I had like a really fatigued day of pregnancy, the last thing I want to do was like squat. So I'd be like, I'm going to get on a leg extension instead because that is just going to feel more comfortable because like either my body hurts today or I feel really fatigued today. I might swap the compound lift or the free weight lift for the machine lift to just have a little more stability and less systemic fatigue.
That's true.
So that's where my mind went with this question, but I could be wrong.
Jordan said, I feel like I've heard you guys mention Levolution offers 20-minute power hour meetings, maybe. Is it connecting with a coach for something super particular, and is it just once?
I can answer that. So the power hours are 1 hour long. You might be confusing it somehow with Josh's Power 20, which is some 20-minute programming in the SDE app. But Levolution power hours are a 1 hour Zoom consult with a coach of your choice. So you would be able to go onto our site, look at all of the coaches' bios, and book a power hour with them. There's no need to apply for our one-on-one coaching. You could just pick who you want to do your power hour with. If you don't know who you want to do your power hour with, but you know you want to do one, you can reach out to me and I will help get you paired with a coach that I think is best for you based on what exactly you're hoping to gain some guidance and clarity on. Mostly they serve as a consult to kind of review what you're doing. Like when someone signs up for one, they get a questionnaire about like what they're doing, what their nutrition looks like, what their training looks like, what their goals are. And so your power hour coach would be reviewing a lot of what you're doing and providing some guidance, some clarity, possibly macros if you're needing some nutrition guidance there, and answering any questions you have. We have, you fill out in that questionnaire if there are any specific questions you're hoping to have answered, or if you just want your current programming reviewed, or if you're looking for someone to help you with the fat loss phase and initiate that with new macros. So you really have a full hour to review and cover any questions, any guidance, any clarity, knowing that, hey, I don't really need one-on-one coaching. I don't need daily accountability. That's not the level of personalization or accountability that I need. And so I don't think one-on-one coaching is a great option, but I'd really love to sit down and like pick a coach's brain on what I'm doing and what I could be doing differently for an hour. That's really what the power hour serves. It does not come with workouts and it doesn't come with any recurring check-ins. So if that's what you're looking for, I'd go the coaching route. But the power hour is a really fun option to do when you just kind of need like a chat with a professional to clear some things up and get some guidance and clarity on what you're doing.
I will touch on the Power 20 because this has actually been a recent ask. People were wondering if this was something that got updated on a monthly basis. It isn't as of this moment. It was actually something we gave away as a free resource. There was a PDF, and I put this in the app so that they could use it within the app. They could track it within the app if they wanted to. When people saw that, I did not realize the amount of positive responses we would get from that, and there has been a request to turn this into a program. So sooner than later, this will be a regularly updated program, the Power 20, going forward.
Probably along the same lines time frame as when the powerlifting program will be available too. So
I also have something else I want to bring to the app that I think would be really helpful for people. I don't believe we have this anywhere, but I think that a 3-day-a-week full body would be really great.
I have that. That's a move.
But it's not gym based, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, well, fuck me then.
Joelle's a muscle mommy snob. She doesn't even sniff around the rest of the app.
I think I thought Move was 4 days a week. I didn't realize it was 3.
It's 3 full body. It's build condensed into 3 full body days. So it has the mobility warm up in the plyo, but it is full. Like we do back squats and deadlifts and all that stuff.
We can do a quick run through.
What
for
do
the
I
audience, know? For the audience, for Joelle, for anybody else who's totally unclear. So Physique Plus 6-day hypertrophy focus. That's more of your traditional bodybuilding push pull lower split. Physique is the 5-day condensed version. So it's instead of push pull lower, it's push pull lower upper lower. We condense that second push pull day into a single upper day to turn that into 5. My other program is Evolve Hybrid, which is a 4-day super efficient lifting program, which also stacks which running program? Extend?
Yes.
Extend. Yep. There's 3 phases of Extend. So you kind of rotate through those as I update each Evolve Hybrid. And then you have Build, Move, Anywhere.
Build and move are kind of like our, I want to say like athletic style programming mixed with hypertrophy and strength. So we have a full mobility warm up programmed, and then you do a plyometric or explosive movement of the day, followed by a compound lift and some accessory work. Build is 4 days with an optional 5th, and move is 3 full body days per week. And then Joelle has Muscle Mommy.
I have Muscle Mommy, so that's a 4-day hypertrophy split, upper lower split. So you got 2 upper days, 2 lower body days, full gym access.
And then we also have the prenatal program, which is a full brings you from the start to finish of your pregnancy. We have the postpartum program, which is 16 weeks starting from literally day 1 postpartum. And you get all of these in the app. We don't make you choose one and then you don't get access to the others. Like, you get all of them because we want you to be consistent no matter what phase of life that you're in. Oh, and then we have the running program. So we have the begin program, which is like your couch to 5K. Like, it'll help you run at least 30 minutes or a 5K distance. We have extend, which is the 10K distance. And then we have 2 half marathon programs in there with more to come soon.
And you get all of these for the price of one.
Literally.
And your first month free, code LEVOLUTION.
You cannot beat that, you guys.
LVLTN.
What a bargain. What a bargain.
All right, last question of the day is from Melissa. She said, is there a reason why my legs feel so heavy on slow runs when I'm trying to stay in zone 2 or 3 compared to running at a tempo or race pace? It makes it hard to keep it slow when going faster feels better on my legs. Could it be gait related? Could different shoes help? I've been running for about 2 years in my 5K trail races. My initial thought is that when you're trying to go slow, you are trying to
change your gait.
And a lot of people, when they go slow, take less steps. So when you start doing this, you almost want to think about just like running under your body more. So like you're taking more steps that opposed to like a longer stride and slowing down. But my first initial thought when you say this is that you're changing how you're running so it feels harder for your body. But honestly, it also is on the mindset side, like it is kind of a weird thing to slow down, and it does take practice, if that makes sense, to get better at running slower. Like, it's something that most people just really do struggle with because they're used to going zone 3, zone 4, zone 5 for all of their runs. So when they run slow, it's almost like it's so much harder because you're forcing your body to run slower and you're not used to that.
There's got to be some weird thing within the human body that like makes this a thing. Because even when I was still playing baseball, I, for the life of me, could not, like, I would have no control when I slowed my pitches down. Like, I couldn't throw batting practice unless it was at 100%. I have zero control trying to slow things down. And even in boxing, when I was doing that for a little bit, like, I can't just slowly move my hands as we're going through sparring. Like, if I'm not going full speed with other things, I have zero control over what my body's doing.
It might be the New Yorker in me, but I'm like that with walking. Like, if I'm just taking a leisurely walk around the neighborhood, it is a power walk. Brant will be like, can you slow down? I'm like, no, it's just how my legs go.
Yeah.
And because I have long legs, if I try to like shorten my gait so that I can like walk slower, it feels so like it hurts. It feels like it hurts my hips because like you said, you're changing your natural gait.
Yeah.
Maybe just living in the city made me
It is a
angry
practice.
power walker.
You could have been a runner, but you hate it.
I was a runner for a long time. I was a like all county cross country runner. All state.
Look at you now.
Rookie of the year on varsity cross country my freshman year. I was a runner. I am retired. I'm now a stationary biker. Not even an outdoor biker, just a basement biker.
Basement.
All right, that was everyone, right?
Yep.
Short
I
and
hit
sweet.
refresh. All right, where can they find you?
I'm at Alessandra Skutnik.
At Joelle Samantha.
At Josh Skutnik.
And everything else you need is linked in the show notes.